Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead. Finally, The Walking Dead season 11 trailer. The final episode is what they're calling it. It's pretty exciting, honestly. Even though the show is ending, it's really sad to see it end. It's still really exciting to see what's going to happen in these final 8 episodes. And it's exciting because we have spin-offs coming up. Obviously the Daryl one and the Maggie and Negan one, and they just announced at Comic Con that Rick and Michonne are getting a spin-off, which I did make a video about. If you want to go check out on the channel, we have a lot more to talk about when it comes to that. But I do have a video on the channel for that. But for this video, we're gonna be going through that season 11B or season 11C, I should say, season 11C trailer, and breaking it down and talking about it. I'm sure you guys have seen it, and that ending of the trailer was insane. I wasn't expecting the show to go in that direction. Um, so I guess before I get into anything, obviously, I want to give a spoiler warning for The Walking Dead. And when I say spoiler warning for The Walking Dead, I mean all three shows because, yeah, because we're gonna be talking about the universe really, especially The Walking Dead and the world beyond. We'll talk about as well. So it's just general spoiler warning in case you aren't caught up with the show. But yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, I don't want to get too ahead right now. I want to talk about the rest of the trailer, but that ending was really cool because we got to see like a different type of walker. Well, I guess technically we've seen those types of walkers before in the first episode. I mean, first season, I should say. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about it when we get to that part of the video. But yeah, basically the trailer opens up with like a quick montage of like all the Walking Dead events, which I love. You got like Rick waking up in the hospital, going to Atlanta, and then you got like a bunch of other characters throughout the season show. Like they're just like quick little, just quick little bits of footage from like the entire show. So it was really cool, part of the trailer, I thought. So it was like super sweet to see that, all the past moments real quick again. So I really did love that little montage. And then it basically cuts to Lance, who's sitting in this like dark room. I have no idea where this is at and who he's talking to, but he's saying, "Thank you for coming. I hoped you would. I have a lot to say." And the way the trailer is like made, like I feel like it could be easily just like, oh, they just skip over that, right? Like, oh, it's just something, because he's basically kind of talking to the audience too, right? Like, thank you for coming. I hope you would. I have a lot to say. And then you get into the trailer, so it's almost like he's talking to the audience. But if you take a moment to just step back for a second and think, like, who is he actually talking to in this scene? Like, who is he thanking? That's meeting him in this dark room that you can't even see anything. Like, who is this person that he's meeting? Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments down below? Could it just be like Pamela, maybe? Because he is really trying to, um, you know, I guess prove himself to Pamela would be a good way to put it, maybe. But just, yeah, trying to prove that he's able to do a lot of good for the Commonwealth, like we saw in the first part, or I guess the second part, I should say. Um, where he was trying to get the communities to join the Commonwealth to prove to Pamela that they could get these communities on board, and really it didn't really work out for him. So it could be potentially that. So we'll see. And then you got let's see what else. There's a lot of like quick scenes. You got a shot of Daryl just riding his bike here. Always love. I just have to include it. I love seeing Daryl on his bike. So yeah, I just had to include that. And then you get this scene of like the group here. Um, it looks like they're inside of some little like shed or something. Hiding for the night. And I like this because it kind of shows like that we're going to have the group be together, because that's what I'm definitely hoping for these final 8 episodes. Like I want to see the group stick together, and that's what it looks like based on this image. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see what else. So we see the Commonwealth here. They're at Alexandria. Remember, this is basically, leading up to a big battle against the Commonwealth because of what happened. I mean, basically at the end of season 11B, Lance knows that Maggie basically is fighting against them, like we saw what happened. And we even see Maggie. She says in the trailer, we need to have Hornsby before he gets to anybody. So Maggie knows that Lance is very angry, and she is trying to protect her people there. Then we have this scene of Daryl and Carol. And Daryl, they're basically, well, Carol says like this isn't gonna be easy, and Daryl says when is it ever? So, yeah, I love that. Because these characters have been through a lot of these type of battles, right? The Governor people, Terminus people, the Saviors, the Whispers, now the Commonwealth. I mean, the Reapers also. Like even like in between the major groups that were very well known because of the comics, you still got like they've just been through so many groups, who they've dealt with this. So yeah, I just love that little line. Then you got this like big horde of walkers. So I'm also excited that walkers are going to be playing a pretty big role in the second, or I keep saying second part, excuse me, third part, last part. Let's just say last part. The walkers are going to be playing a big part in this last part of the show because remember, the walkers are what the show is about. We cannot forget that. Seeing the human villains are great, but we cannot forget about the walkers. Whenever the show forgets the walkers, I think it suffers, or at least I should say like when the show makes sure it utilizes walkers to its potential, like we did with the Whispers. Then it's really really good, and that's what this part's going to do. I think and we'll talk more about that later with the Aaron bit in the trailer, but yeah. You got Mercer here. Remember, he is basically playing both sides, so it's gonna be exciting to see him. Lance is talking to someone here in the cell. You got Lydia. We didn't see much of Lydia in like in season 11. She had a lot in season like 9 and season 10. But in season 11 there hasn't been much of Lydia. I mean, there's been a few characters who we haven't seen much of. Like Rosita is another one. Who else? Like we haven't seen much of Magnus group. Like Luke. I mean, Yumako's had a good story. Because she's like a lawyer at the Commonwealth, so she has some pretty interesting arcs. But yeah, like we haven't a lot. We haven't seen Luke in a long time. I'm assuming we're going to see him in the third part. But yeah, the reason I bring this up is because the show is ending, so I want to see how some of these stories wrap up. But yeah. Speaking of Magnus group, you got Kelly and Connie here, and Dale standing next to them, and they look obviously very upset, and there's something wrong. Something bad is going on here. And then you got Ezekiel being taken away by the Commonwealth. So there's definitely lots of like bits in the trailer that leads me to suspect that the Commonwealth is actually going to get to the group. You got Rosita here. Remember, Rosita is actually a Commonwealth soldier, so I wonder what's going to happen to her. Because like when Maggie, since Lance knows that Maggie basically like declared a fight against the Commonwealth, I wonder what's gonna happen to all the other people at the Commonwealth. That's what I mean. Like, is that what's going on here? Like, is that why they're like escorting Ezekiel because like they don't trust anybody part of that group now? We'll see. You got Stephanie here. She's being escorted as well. So, things are going down for a lot of the characters, I think, who are like connected with basically anyone connected with Alexandrian people. But yeah, it's definitely leading up to like a big battle. Like you even see it in the trailer, you got characters in fighting position. Like you got Magna here, and some of the people in her group. You got this scene of the fake Stephanie and Carol's hiding here with a knife. I feel like this looks like it might be. Well, I don't know. It's just a house, but I don't know. I was thinking maybe Alexandria, but this is probably just a hilltop, or not the hilltop. Sorry, the Commonwealth. But we'll see what's going on with that fake Stephanie. What's gonna happen with her because, yeah, she really like tricked Eugene, and she's part of that group with Lance. So we'll see what happens to her. And I wonder what Carol has to do with this as well because she wasn't really connected too much with Carol. So I wonder what Carol and her. Well, maybe they just run into each other. We'll see. You got Pamela here. She's like screaming. There's a little blood on her. Oh, and just earlier when I was talking about characters who we haven't seen much of, Pamela was gonna also be one I mentioned because she got introduced in season 11B, but we just didn't see much of her. I wish we saw more of her. Um, and then you got this scene of like Daryl fighting, and he even has Lance at like knife point. And he's like saying in the trailer, he's like, "You're running out of time." So yeah, this is. I don't think. I mean, obviously, I don't think Daryl's going to like take Lance out in this scene because they would never just show that in the trailer. Like that would be a big spoiler. But we'll see. You even got like Negan fighting some people, so they're definitely fighting back. Like Negan's like, this guy is like telling Negan like, do you know who I am? And Negan's like, do you know who I am? So, and then we have the bit of the trailer where it's basically we get some lines that are very like I don't know how you would explain it, kind of like, I guess the characters are being very sincere, and like emotional, I guess you could also say. Like Ezekiel's like, this world is broken. There's like Judith saying, this isn't the future my mom and dad fought for. Daryl saying like, I wish things were how you want them to be. I have to keep you safe. So all these things. I mean, I don't think those are all related, those three lines. I'm just saying that those are all things that the character is saying. And the trailer kind of takes a bit of a, like a dramatic turn. It's the final season, there's definitely gonna be some emotional moments. But going back to the actual like what we're seeing in the trailer, the visuals, you see the group fighting walkers. It seems like walkers are going to like overtake the Commonwealth maybe, or wherever area this is, and they're fighting the well. Actually, I don't think the walkers are overtaking the Commonwealth. I think the Commonwealth are too good for that to happen. But maybe just the area that these people are. Maybe the Commonwealth do it themselves because they escorted everybody to this. Maybe they escorted them to like their own separate like little town, and they unleashed a bunch of walkers there. I don't know. I have no idea. But they're just like in this little area, this town or something, and there's like so many walkers for some reason. Um, yeah, and then back to the action. There's definitely some lots of like action pieces, set pieces in the trailer. Like you got Daryl like going, I don't know, like James Bond style here. He ducks underneath this broken tree and like knocks down the Commonwealth soldier with his bike. There's moments like that. There's like car chases and stuff like that. So lots of like action. So I mean, based on the trailer, there definitely seems to be a good mix of the things we're getting. Like um, uh, good like story for the characters, hopefully. But it definitely seems like it because they highlighted a lot of the characters. Good action, definitely some dramatic moments. Some moments that might be reflective of the past. Like the thing with Judith said. Like this isn't the future my mom and dad fought for. I mean, I'm not gonna get into Rick right now and Rick and Michonne, but because they did announce the series we're getting with them, but I do wonder if other characters are gonna find out about Rick in the meantime. Like, is Daryl gonna find out about Rick? Because like we still, that's another thing about this second part is that some of the characters are leaving. Like Rick, or sorry, not Rick, Daryl, and Negan and Maggie. I still don't know exactly what's happening with Carol. I don't know the Carol situation, if she's going to be in that spin-off or what. But the point is, there's characters who are getting spin-offs. So they have to. These characters, I'm assuming, are going to leave in this part, And then they also have to wrap up the other stories. And it is the final season. It's not a guarantee that everyone's going to survive. There's definitely some moments in the trailer which makes me worried, for the characters. There's a bit in the trailer with Rosita, like right here. There's a bunch of walkers, and like the stakes are high. Like anything can happen because like not every character is going to get a spin-off, and it is the final season, so they can do whatever they want, which is scary to think about, you know. Um, and yeah, Gabriel gives a real good little speech here during the trailer. It's like a voiceover. He's like, people remember the last thing you do. The end of each story is very important. How do you want yours to end? So the trailer is even a little meta, like talking about stories ending and stuff like that with Gabriel. Um, And I guess this is a great time to just mention that I'm also very excited to see what they have, for Gabriel's story. Like, how is this going to end? Because Gabriel, I said a lot. If you watch my channel, I mention Gabriel a lot because like I think he's had some of the best character development on the show. Period. Like, if you go back in season 5 when we met Gabriel to see him now, it's pretty insane how much he's changed. Like he has changed a lot, which is just like some amazing characterization right there for him. The trailer also has a lot of shots of Eren. He's here like holding the door. Eren's another one. I really like Eren. I really have grown to like so many of these characters. And I'm just like I'm just so curious what's going to happen to them. I'm assuming like I'm assuming the majority of them will just like survive and be at Alexandria. I'm not trying to say like, something's gonna happen to all the characters. No, of course not. Like I'm sure the majority of them will be okay. I just mean that it is the final season, so the stakes are high. Because before we were like, oh, they would never kill this character off because they would want him in the next season. But there is no next season for a lot of these characters, as far as we know. I mean, maybe they come back down the line in one of the spin-offs if some of the characters go back to Alexandria. Like, I could definitely see that happening, but for the meantime, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? You got, you got this scene of Eugene. It looks like Eugene's on his knees. And this is another thing I mean. Like, this makes me scared. Like, there's a lot of moments in the trailer which kind of, like, shows characters, like, in situations where something bad could happen, like that Rosita thing, and now this with Eugene. So Eugene is another character who I really really love. Eugene, they're doing a great job writing Eugene. They really are. Like he has had some of the most interesting storylines in the entire show if you think about it. Like even with the Saviors, him double playing Negan like that, helping out the group at the last second with the Saviors and stuff. So yeah, Eugene has done some great stuff for sure. And there's also like this bit in the trailer where we have like the whole group here, like literally everybody. And like Ezekiel is like leading the group, and he stops and he's saying, "Fall back," and you can't really see what it is, but I'm assuming it's walkers. And this is what I meant earlier. Like, what is going on here where all these characters are here in this area, like, and there's just so many walkers? Is this like a trap by the Commonwealth? Because I'm sure the Commonwealth, they know how to survive and not let walkers inside of their walls, right? Because, they're the Commonwealth. They've been doing it for a long time, and they have the resources to prevent the walkers from coming inside. So I don't know if it's walkers or if it's the Commonwealth, if they're actually found the Commonwealth, but the whole group is here, which is kind of exciting. It's really exciting to see the whole group together for sure. But yeah, there's just a bunch of quick shots of just the characters, so I can't really say too much on those moments. So I guess now would be a great time to go talk about that ending, shall we? Since we're almost 20 minutes into this video. Whenever the main trailers come out for the show, my breakdown is always like, like 20, 30 minutes long because I talk about the whole thing. I don't have one focus point. But we definitely will break it down more, of course, when, down the line and talk about specific stuff. But yeah, let's talk about this part. So at the end here, Eren is talking to somebody. We can't really see who, but he's saying, "I've heard stories of walkers that can climb walls and open doors. I was never sure if they were just stories." And as he's saying this, we get to see stuff like that in the trailer. You get to see like this walker's hand reach up over a fence. You see like a doorknob turning, assuming it's a walker behind them. You see this walker sort of like stop in the middle of like the horde. It kind of resembles like the Whisperer. Remember that scene with the Whisperer who kind of just stopped in the middle of the horde and turned around? It reminds me of that, but I'm assuming this isn't a Whisperer. I'm assuming this is a walker, given that they're talking about walkers here, and we're done with the Whisperers. And then we have a walker actually climb the fence. So this is really crazy. So a couple of things come to mind here. So earlier I said spoiler warning for the entire Walking Dead universe, because I said we're going to talk about the world beyond as well. So if you aren't caught up with The Walking Dead World Beyond, you still have time to leave. But in The Walking Dead World Beyond, at the end of that show, there was like a post-credit scene, which took place in a different country, but we had like a real quick walker, and it was like a completely different type of walker than we've ever seen before. I don't know if that's the same type of walker as this. I don't know. Maybe it could be. But there's also, remember back in season one, they had walkers who would turn doorknobs and climb fences. Like they had that in season one. So it could just be that. I don't know if it's like a different type. I mean, I guess, yeah, it is a different type of walker. So I don't know how they're doing this, because they kind of stopped that. Like in season one, yes, there were walkers who could climb fences and stuff like that and open doors. But then that just sort of went away. So I guess now if they're going back to that, so like, the first explanation could just be like, yeah, those walkers have always been there, but they're just a very, very rare like breed, like a very rare type of walker or whatever. Um, and then B, could be maybe it's somehow related to that post credit scene at the end of World Beyond where we had that quick walker, that running walker or something. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. But the point here is that this is pretty important in terms of the future of the show, because we had, like I said, the World Beyond ended teasing a different type of walker, and now it's season 11C, and they have like it's technically like a post credit scene in the trailer. They always have it, like the title card comes up and then this end part. And the end part is always like the big part of like the season or whatever. Like the Whisperers were like the post scene after the title card in season 9 or whatever. So yeah, is this gonna have a big part in the show? Well, let's see. I mean, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what's going on here. You guys let me know in the comments down below. But whatever is going on, we know that there's different types of walkers out there in the Walking Dead universe, which definitely makes it exciting that they're bringing it back. Because yeah, we did have that in season 1, but then like it sort of went away. But now that it's back, like it just makes the walkers a complete threat all over again, which is what which I think will make the show great. I mean, I'm not trying to say like the show isn't great. The show is great right now, but I'm just saying like, or like earlier when I was saying, when the show loses focus on walkers, it's kind of bad for the show. So if they have focus on the walkers, that's great. But not only that, changing the walkers themselves, different types of walkers, will just make everything super exciting. So yeah. You guys let me know in the comments down below, what do you think is going on with this walker at the end of the trailer? And also let me know your thoughts and opinions about the whole trailer, like what do you think is going to happen in season 11C? Obviously this is a huge trailer and we have a lot more to talk about down the road, including talks about spin-offs and stuff like that. And yeah, again, be sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. As far as this video goes, I am going to wrap it up there, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead videos like this, be sure to subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching, please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.